Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back. We're going to talk about the Detroit Lions today and a nice spread and a nice total going into the season. But before I get into that, you have to understand that the Detroit Lions have a lot of potential to be a better team than what they were last year. Now, I'm looking at them to win at least. I'm gonna be a little kind to them. I'm gonna give them 7 games this season. I'm gonna give them 7 to 8 games. Only reason is because they did get hurt a lot last year. The team was riddled with injuries, and man, just ruined their season. And as you can see with some of the points that was put up, obviously against the Bengals, against the Philadelphia Eagles, against the Denver Broncos, they gave up a bunch of points, 28 here, 38 there, 23 here. But some of the key things to keep in mind about the Detroit Lions, they have a easier schedule this year, and they have the ability to win more games than to lose. I'm going to get into it here in a second, but going back here, a spread, I got a +6 for them. Also, the total, I do have under 48.5. Also, we have to keep in mind by week 9. So looking at it and looking at the reverse side of, bad teams playing against good teams and bad teams going under the total as far as total points, I started noticing that the first 2 weeks of the season are the best weeks to bet overs, and they're going to be the worst weeks to bet unders. So that 48.5 to the under for the first 2 weeks, I won't say that it's a good bet, but it's more probable that it's going to go to the under when they play. So we're going to avoid the first 2 weeks of the game. Also, as you can see with the divisional opponents, it's kind of like half and half. But there is one thing that stays consistent, and that's after the first 2 weeks going into the season. So we have week 3, week 4, week 5. All those games went to the under. All those games went to the under. 6, 7, until we get to week 8. Now, all of these games are under 48.5. We have to keep that in mind. What happened in week 8 with Philly? Next week they go into a bye, riddled with injuries, on a losing streak, going into a bye. They gave up 44 points to New England. Total points of 50. So we avoid the bye weeks. We avoid the first 2 weeks. We should be okay. Then from after that bye, obviously, you go in all the way until week 13. And week 13, that's when they go over. So 12 games total under 48.5. It's a good number to get the Detroit Lions. But again, we have to weigh the risk to reward. The Detroit Lions, they were riddled with injuries. Like I said, they did have a good draft. I believe that defensive players make a bigger impact than offensive players in a game. If, there's a couple of exceptions. Don't get me wrong. Who was it? Justin Jefferson. You have, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank from the wide receiver from the Bengals who was a rookie last year, Chase, right? Chase. So we have those 2 examples, unless you're a running back, but those are kind of rare situations. They started right away and made huge impacts right away. They did draft a #1 wide receiver in the first round. Detroit Lions did. So they may have lightning in a bottle. We don't know yet. We have to wait and see. But going back, with all their players coming back from injury, with their new draft picks, on the defensive side, they have 2 edge rushers. On the defensive side, they have the potential to have a better season. That's why I'm going to give them 7 wins with a easier schedule. And let's get into the schedule with that being said. So here is their schedule. Here is who they play in the upcoming season. And as we can see, week 1, they face the Eagles. I like the Eagles winning that one with over the total. I think the total is like 46.5. We'll see back in here in a second after I get done explaining this whole list of easy teams. So everything in light green are teams that they can beat. And as you can see, Patriots right here. So let me explain this. Actually, I'm going to go down the list, give you my opinion for each game, then I'm going to explain that one when I get to it. So the Washington Commanders, obviously you have Carson Wentz. Washington looks like a good football team too. All right, just putting that out there. With all the pieces, all they really needed was a quarterback. And when the defensive end comes back from injury, Washington will be a tough team to play against. But on paper, what they did last season, they were bad. Until we see how Wentz perform with the pieces that surround him, it's possible, again, it's possible that the Detroit Lions can win against the Washington Commanders. It's possible they can win against the Vikings, Seattle Seahawks. Now, the edge goes to New England here, New England Patriots. Reason being is because you're facing Bill Belichick at New England, and you go on a bye next week, not previous week, next week. You go on a bye. So, that being said, advantage goes to New England. Come back, Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys is a lot better than advertised as well. After that, you have the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are loaded. Tua going into his second season. Then they can also beat the Packers. Packers is in their division. They beat the Packers last year, late in the season, but they did beat the Packers last year. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't have Davante Adams and his wide receivers. It's going to be interesting how the Packers go through this season. It's going to be interesting. Chicago Bears. They can beat the Bears. They definitely could beat New York Giants. Buffalo Bills. Now, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. So, the Buffalo Bills, they actually are on the road and face against Detroit. Next week, they face the Patriots the week after they face Detroit, or a week before they face Detroit. You know what I'm trying to say. So, the next game is the Patriots. So, Buffalo have to fly from Detroit to New England to play the Patriots. And these are the same Patriots that with Tom Brady, they were stomping on the Bills, like stomping, just, smacking them around, just, calling them all types of names and everything with Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady left, and they have to fly out to play the Patriots. Yeah, I think they're going to focus more on that Patriots game than the Detroit Lions, so this may be an upset. Speculation. But, yeah, because, I used to live in upstate New York, and trust me, every time they played the Patriots, it's a bad taste in their mouth. So they have a special place in their heart for the Patriots. The Buffalo Bills do. If that's what you want to call it. But let's get back into it. Going into Jacksonville and the Jaguars, they can beat the Jaguars. They can beat, again, the Vikings, the Jets. They can beat all of these teams. This is a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 12, 13 teams. 13 teams that they can beat. They're going to have a better season this season. A lot better than what they did last year. And one of the most important things is they're going to have the key pieces, some key pieces back, because they did lose their center. They're going to have him back. They're going to have their starting corner back. They're going to have their starting DB back. And we're going to take it from there. But let's go back here. Putting everything in perspective, the Detroit Lions have so much talent on their team. They can only go up from here. So we have to be extremely careful betting against the Detroit Lions. Now, they can have the same season that they can have last season, but it's not likely with all the pieces around Jared Goff. And Jared Goff isn't a bad quarterback. I'm not going to lie to you. He's not a bad quarterback, all right? He's okay. He's pretty good. So just going into the season, I have a +6 for the Detroit Lions. If you can get them at +6, I think that might be a good number. Now remember here, they needed an average of 12 points. That's just average, right? So if you get the Detroit Lions at like 14, 15, that's an automatic. You might want to consider that bet. But if they're facing somebody we're facing with a powerful offense, and let's go look at who they're facing against. Again, who has a powerful offense? The Buffalo Bills, right? But the Bills face the Patriots next week. It may matter, may not, but Detroit just have a little edge with that game, just to keep that in mind. Powerful offense, Miami and Philly. Other than that, you can make a statement for the Vikings, but other than that, I mean, but they're in their division. Packers without Devontae Adams, what are we gonna make of them? We don't know. Patriots, I mean, again, before the bye, and let's just like it's not as powerful as or as defensively as Baltimore. You have the Cincinnati Bengals. That was a powerhouse as far as offense is concerned. Now everybody has their eyes on Cincinnati Bengals. And like again, you have to face the Rams. Like the Rams just, I think that was just an easy win for them. So putting everything back in perspective, coming back down to earth. +6 until we see different. Under 48.5 until we see different. Being very cautious going into this season, betting against the Detroit Lions. So I appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, bet wisely.